What's up, guys? It's Bryan again from Lake Hickory Scuba and Marina. If you are new to our channel, do me a huge favor, hit this little subscribe button right here and ding that little bell as well. That way you guys are going to be notified every time we upload new content. Now I got a brand new flashlight we're going to do a quick review on. This is the OrcaTorch ZD710 zoomable flashlight. And we're down here in Curacao, and I figured, hey, why not come do a night dive while we're down here and take this light with us and see how it does on a nice tropical reef, a nice beautiful tropical reef. So we're going to take a quick look at what comes in the package and read about all the features of it, and then we're going to take it out on a night dive, and then at the end of the video I will give you my final thoughts on whether I think this is a great light, say for a beginner or even an experienced diver. But I also want you to stay tuned because we're going to be doing a contest in the future and I'm going to be giving this light away. So definitely stay tuned for that as well. But I'll give you more details at the end of the video. So with that being said, let's jump in and see what comes in the package. Alright guys, so the case is pretty cool, and OrcaTorch does really good at getting you some nice cases with their lights. I actually prefer this case. It's kind of small. There is room to put other stuff in it, so if you're traveling, not only can you get your light and the batteries and things like that in it, but you can also get other things, say, you know, a small save dive kit, a couple of tools, things like that. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what comes in the package itself. Looks like we got some paperwork up top. We do have a lanyard and spare O-rings. It appears that there are 3 O-rings or spare O-rings there. We got a user manual, which we're going to briefly go through here. And then it looks like we got a little brochure here for some of their other lights as well. And then we have a warranty card. Now, ironically, we don't see a lot of warranty cards with OrcaTorch lights. However, this one does seem to have it, so it's pretty neat that you can fill it out and turn the warranty in on it. We do have a rechargeable battery here. This is a 21700 battery. It's a 3.6 volt or 5000 milliamps. It does look like you plug it in. It comes with a C charger, which is pretty cool, but you can also use any of the other OrcaTorch chargers as well. I think OrcaTorch is kind of going away from those charging units and just going with ones you just plug directly in. I think it would be neat too if they would send a plug for this, but this just has the cord and the battery. And then of course we've got the flashlight itself. And here's what I was saying earlier too. With the case itself, you can put a couple of different other accessories in here if you need to, and you can use this as kind of a travel kit, not just for your flashlight but for other things as well. But taking a close look at the flashlight, looks like it's anodized aluminum here. Got a nice little rubber silicone ring here on the end. Does have a mount, so if you want to mount this to, say, a Goodman style handle or a light tray or something like that, you can do it as well. Single button press, and it does look like it has an indicator light. I'm assuming that's going to let you know the battery strength. We'll find out when we read the manual. It says zoom in and zoom out here on the edge, so I'm assuming just by twisting it, it's going to zoom in and out there. And then I'm going to also assume that if we take the tail cap off here, we should be able to insert the battery. Yep, and let's see if this battery is charged. We'll put the battery in, and there is our 3 O-rings that the spare O-rings will replace. So let's put that on. And let's see if we can get the light to come on. Press the button there, and light comes on. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3 modes, and if we press and hold, looks like it goes into a turbo instead of a strobe or something like that. And then here's our little indicator. I don't know if you can see the light on camera. Here's our little indicator to let us know that the battery is good. And of course it just simply scrolls through. So high, medium, low, and off, and then if you press and hold while it's on, it goes into the turbo mode. So let's go to the low mode just to see the difference, and there's turbo mode. Alright, so let's get this guy turned off. Let's read through the manual and see what all we can find out about this light. So looking at the owner's manual here, this is the OrcaTorch ZD710 zoomable dive light. Quick reference chart here says that we got a high, a medium, a low, and a turbo mode. Looks like it's 1600 looms on the high. That gives you about an hour and a half run time. We've got the medium at 750 looms, 2 hours and 50-minute run time. The low mode is 250 lumens at a 9.5 hour run time. And then of course the turbo mode doesn't have a run time because you just simply, it's however long you hold your button down, and it's 2700 looms on that. Rotating rotating focus here looks like is 8 degrees to 76, so it looks like we're going from a flood beam over to a spot beam and back and forth. And then of course it's just one quick operation or one click operation for the button there. And then it does have a little lanyard hole here on the back for, say, a lanyard, or if you want to tie on a bolt snap or anything like that. And then here's our indicator lights. It says if it's green, it's above 30%. If it's in the red, it is 10 to 30%. And then if it's flashing red, it's below 10%. So that kind of lets you know where your battery's at throughout the dive as well. It says a long press the side button for 5 seconds in the off state to lock. So if it's off and I press and hold, now it's locked. So it's not going to come on. Well, it still comes on. So let's press and hold for 5 seconds here. 4, 5. Alright, there it's flashing. And yes. So it actually has a lock mode. That's really cool. So if you're traveling and you don't carry this thing in a case, and there it just came back on. So I took it out of the lock mode. Let's see if it says how to bring it out. The main light will blink during locking or unlocking, and a green indicator. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the fact this thing has a lock mode, so if you're not using the case on it, you can put it in lock mode and your light's not going to accidentally come on. So yeah, I really dig that. So let's take this thing on an actual night dive and see how it does. We're going to go through all the different modes, see how easy it is to operate, and then we'll get out of the water. I'll give you some final thoughts.
Alright guys, so I want to really start out the review talking about how we do reviews on these lights, because I know there's tons of people here on YouTube that do light reviews, and they really try to feature the light itself and some of the components to it, and they really just try to feature the light underwater. And I'm sorry, but our reviews are not like that. Our reviews are more practical in nature. You know, before and after the underwater footage, I kind of show you the light and the features of it and all that. What we're actually showing you is how the light actually works. I want you guys to see what you're going to see with your eyes, and that's what we're doing here. As you can tell, as we're fixing to make our entry here, I've got this light pretty much on the flood beam. That way we can see the entire area, we can safely get down in the water, and I want to show you what this light's actually capable of here. I'm actually on the high setting here to see if it's going to blind these guys as we're walking down, and then once I get underwater, based off the clarity of the water, I'm actually going to dial it back to the medium and the low setting as well. And I am going to be going through these zoom features. I'm going to show you some things that I liked about this light, some things that I didn't like, but so far I'm actually impressed with it. The light does get very hot. I will state this, you know, typically dive lights nowadays don't really do that, but on this high beam, it's actually getting hot. I can feel it with my hand, and we use our dive lights above water as well, so that's something that you might want to be concerned with as well. But as I climb down the ladder here, once again, pretty impressed with it. It's lighting up the area. It's keeping us safe above water as we enter in the water. So yeah, very easy to use, and so far I do like it. It is a little bulky. I prefer a much smaller light, but you could very easily attach this to, say, a helmet, a full face mask, a Goodman style handle. If I would have had an extra bolt snap with me, I probably would have tied it on and clipped it to a D-ring, just to, you know, to climb up and down this ladder here. But you know, I didn't find it too awful bulky, just holding it in my hand. And here's what I was saying too. I wanted to see if it would blind us as I was getting ready. I've got this thing set on the maximum zoom, if you will, on the high beam, and the camera is basically seeing what I'm seeing. So my camera is attached to my mask, and I'm not having any difficulty being blinded. Obviously, it's not directly in my eyes. However, I do have it in a fashion that it's lighting up the area. I can very easily see my fins, even though the light's pointing in a different direction. That kind of shows you how wide that beam is there as well. I can see directly below me. I can see above me. So I really like the zoom feature of this light. It come in very, very handy prior to us going underwater, just to be able to get into the water safely. Now, once I get my tank strapped on here, we will go ahead and go underneath the water, and we'll see what this light does. And I also want to show you something that a lot of people don't think about when they pick out the right lumen light for them. Everybody wants the most highest lumen light they can get, and they think it's going to be beneficial. And you know, if you've seen our videos before, you'll know higher lumens tend to bring out more of the turbidity in the water. It gives a lot of backscatter. Even in good clarity water, you're going to have that same effect. So now that we're ready, let's go ahead and go under. Now I've got it on the spot beam here, and I think I'm on the medium setting. This is not the high beam, but you'll see that that wide angle is basically not as wide, and here I'm zooming out. That just goes to show you how much zoom this actually has. So we went straight from a spot beam straight into that wide angle flood beam as well, and you can see it just pretty much lit up the whole scene there. Now, depending on how far I kept this light from the camera itself, because my hands are obviously much lower than the camera is, it depended on how much it actually lit up. And here I'm just kind of scrolling through the different settings from the high, the low, back to the medium, and I found the medium was a good setting all around, especially for the clarity that we had down here in the tropics. And here I'm using my light in the spot mode to signal my buddies, hey, are you okay? But yeah, that medium setting happened to be the best setting for us, so I pretty much left it on medium throughout this entire dive here. I do zoom in and out a couple of times. I do turn it on turbo a couple of times, but I found the turbo was not the best. Now here, as you can tell, I come up across a little puffer fish, and to get some better photography, I actually zoomed it out. I went from the spot beam over to the flood beam, and I actually dial it back. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I actually dialed it back to the lowest setting versus that high setting, because as I got closer to the bottom, all that white color that you see created a lot of backscatter from the higher lumens. So I actually dialed it back to the low lumens, and of course I went out to the floodlight itself. And here here's a great example. There's a little sea urchin. As you can tell, I'm actually still on that medium setting here, and you just look at all that backscatter there. So as I pull it back into the flood beam there, you'll see all that turbidity there, and that's the problem. Even in good clarity or good visibility, the higher the lumen, you're really going to start pulling out that all that turbidity, and it's going to mess up your shot if you ain't careful. But yeah, we finished up the dive there, ran through some of the different settings, and once again, I used it. I want to test lights before a dive, during a dive, and even after a dive to show you the practical use of them, to see how they're going to work. Here, once again, I think I've went back to that medium set, and I really enjoyed the medium setting on here. Didn't think it was too bright, didn't think it was too dim, even in the clarity of water that we had. And of course, it didn't blind my dive buddies as I lit up the scene for them too, to safely exit the water.
All right, guys, so we just got finished up last night. This is the OrcaTorch ZD710 flashlight. And, you know, my personal thoughts on it, it's a little bigger than what I personally like. I like a little bit smaller light. However, I do like the OrcaTorch products. I've been using them for quite a while now. They do send me quite a few lights to test. Some I've liked, some I don't. What are my personal thoughts on this one? I actually like it. Now, I like it based off where I'm going to be diving. Here in this tropical environment where we're at, this was perfect, especially for a night dive. I could turn this on to flood mode and it would light up the entire scene, and then if I needed to look up underneath some coral or something, I could go into spot mode with it, and I really like that feature. Where we typically dive in our local lake, where our environments are very turbish, I'm not sure that this would be the best light for, say, turbid water. The turbo mode, you know, that's great if you want a lot of lumens in turbid water. That's the last thing that we need. Personally, I think I would probably go back to about a medium, if not a low beam. So the medium's around that 750 lumens, and that would be perfect for our lake or our environment. Here in the warm tropics where it's crystal clear water, the 1600s on the high beam is going to be perfect. I still think the turbo at 2700 lumens, just don't think it's going to be all that good. I do like the zoom feature as well, because you can use it for videography, which is really cool as well. So if you want that broad, you know, really wide beam to get some good videography, things like that. But if you need to zoom in to look up underneath something, yeah, I really like that as well. It's very lightweight, even with the battery in. Can't even tell I'm really carrying it. As far as a backup light, It's going to be a little bulky. I'd still prefer something smaller. But yeah, put this thing on a hand mount, mount it to a light tray for a camera system, and I really think it'd be a great light for you as well. But guys, I want you to stay tuned. Even though I like this light, I would personally use this light in environments like this. I don't think I would use it in our turbid waters back home. But I want you guys to stay tuned. We are going to be hosting a contest, and you can win this light, this exact light. We will be announcing in the next few videos what to do to enter for the contest to win this light, and how we're going to choose a winner as well. So definitely stay tuned in our future videos, because we're going to be going over that, and I really think this is going to make a great light for somebody. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. Do I give this my seal of approval? Absolutely. I do think it's a great light in certain circumstances. But if you're interested in this light, there will also be a link down below. So if you don't want to wait for the contest, you just want to go ahead and purchase your one, there will be a link down below where you can purchase this light as well. And then you can get your hands on it and see what you think. Guys, that's my review of the OrcaTorch ZD710. I really hope you like it. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you use this light, let me know down in the comment section below what you use it for, the areas that you dive, and the pros and cons, what you like about it, what you didn't like about it. Because that's going to do it for our review. Till our next video, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.